The morning air in the Veyran camp was crisp, carrying the scent of firewood and the distant hum of training warriors. Alex woke with a sense of purpose. The events of the past days had changed everything. He was no longer just a human visitor. He had earned recognition, respect, and, most unexpectedly, the attention of Liara. He stretched, feeling the aches in his muscles from yesterday's intense trial. His body had never been pushed so far, yet he welcomed the challenge. Today, Liara had promised a different kind of training, a test not of strength but of perception and awareness. As Alex approached the training grounds, he saw Liara waiting, calm and poised. She held her staff loosely, her braid swinging gently behind her. The other warriors had gathered, giving space but watching with curiosity. "Today," she said, "we test your mind, your judgment, and your courage. This is not a duel of strength, but a duel of perception. You will face situations that require quick thought and careful observation. Are you ready?" Alex nodded, though a small tremor of nervousness ran through him. "I think so," he said. Liara studied him closely. "You have proven bravery in the arena. But strength alone does not make a warrior. Awareness, understanding, and trust are equally important. Today you will learn that." The first test was simple but deceptive. Objects were placed across the training yard, rocks, weapons, and small obstacles. Liara's voice called out, "Find the hidden path. One wrong move and the trial ends." Alex moved cautiously, remembering every lesson she had taught him. He observed the shadows, the spacing between objects, the subtle clues that suggested the safest route. His mind worked faster than ever, calculating paths, anticipating movement, and adjusting as he went. Liara watched silently, her sharp eyes noting every decision he made. Alex could feel her gaze, but instead of pressure, it became a kind of guidance, subtle and reassuring. He reached the other side without error. A small smile of approval appeared on Liara's face. "Good," she said. "You trust your judgment. You anticipate outcomes. That is skill, human." The next challenge was more complex. Two warriors approached, moving unpredictably, feinting attacks, testing his reactions. Alex remembered his victories, but he also knew he couldn't rely on luck alone. He watched, analyzed, and moved. Each feint was met with a counter, each attack met with evasion. By the time the two warriors stopped, Alex was breathing heavily, but he had remained unharmed. Liara nodded again, stepping closer. "You see," she said, "your strength is not your own. It is what you learn from others, what you observe, and how you adapt. Courage without thought is useless. Strength without perception is wasted. You have found the balance." Alex felt a swell of pride. Her words were unlike anything he had heard from anyone, human or Veyran. They carried weight, truth, and encouragement all at once. Then came the final challenge. Liara herself stepped into the arena, staff in hand. This was the moment Alex had both feared and hoped for, the duel that would truly test everything he had learned. "You are ready," she said softly. "Show me what you have become." Alex swallowed. He knew this was not just a test of combat, but of trust and understanding. He raised his staff, his grip steady, his mind alert. Liara moved first, her strikes precise and fast. Alex dodged, remembering every lesson. He didn't attack immediately. Instead, he observed, waited, and reacted with timing and strategy. She adjusted her stance, testing him further, pushing him to anticipate rather than simply respond. Alex shifted, feigned, and countered, using her momentum against her. Every move was calculated, every reaction deliberate. The duel lasted long enough for the sun to rise higher, sweat streaming down both their faces. Yet neither struck with true force. They were testing, not harming. Alex's confidence grew with every exchange. Finally, Liara stopped, stepping back. She lowered her staff, breathing slightly heavier than usual. "You have done well," she said. "Not because you matched me in strength, you could not, but because you matched me in focus, awareness, and heart. That is what makes a true warrior." Alex felt a rush of relief and exhilaration. I did it?" he asked, his voice trembling. Liara smiled, genuinely this time. "Yes, Alex, you have done it. You have proven yourself in every way that matters." The camp erupted in applause. Warriors approached, clapping him on the back, offering nods of respect. For the first time, Alex felt fully accepted in this world. Not as a visitor, not as a human, but as someone who had earned his place among them. Liara walked beside him, close enough for him to notice, yet not too close to be intrusive. "You surprised me," she said quietly. Alex laughed, feeling the tension in his body ease. "I surprised myself." She tilted her head, studying him with those sharp, curious eyes. Do you know why I did not punish you for your words that day? Alex hesitated. Because you understood? Liara's smile deepened, partly, but also because you were honest. You spoke without fear, without hiding. That is rare. That is why your slip of the tongue led to everything you have achieved. Alex blinked, stunned. It made sense now. The words that had seemed a mistake had been the start of this journey, the first step in proving himself. So, my embarrassing comment actually helped me? He asked, incredulous. Liara nodded. Yes. Sometimes honesty and courage are stronger than skill or strength. You showed both, even by accident. Alex laughed, shaking his head. I never thought I'd hear someone say that as a compliment. She glanced at him, her expression softening. And that is why your reply, your honesty, was beyond belief. You spoke boldly and you acted boldly. That combination is rare, human. That evening, Alex and Liara sat by the campfire. The other warriors had retired for the night, leaving them in relative privacy. Alex stared into the flames, reflecting on everything that had happened. He realized how much he had grown in just a few days. He had started as an outsider, awkward and unsure. His words had been reckless, but they had revealed courage. His actions in the trials had been clumsy, but they had revealed determination. And through it all, Liara had seen something in him that no one else had: potential, honesty, and heart. You changed my perception of humans, Liara said quietly. I expected fear, hesitation, and weakness. Instead, I found honesty, courage, and resilience. That is why I trust you. Alex turned to her, searching for meaning. Trust me, and how? Liara's gaze met his. Trust is earned, Alex, and you have earned mine. You are not just a human who stumbled with words. You are a human who acted with honesty, who adapted, and who showed courage when it mattered most. That is why your words, and your actions, are beyond belief. Alex felt a warmth in his chest. For the first time, he truly understood. His journey on Vera had begun with a mistake, but it had become so much more. He had survived trials, won respect, and gained the trust of someone extraordinary. Thank you, he said softly. I don't know what to say. Liara shook her head. You do not need words. Your actions have said everything. Remember that. Strength is not just muscle or weapon. Strength is honesty, courage, and heart. You have all three. Alex smiled, feeling a sense of completion. The camp, the trials, the challenges. They had all tested him, shaped him, and guided him to this moment. And through it all, Liara's reply, the acceptance, the trust, the recognition, had been the reward he never expected. For the first time, Alex truly felt at home on Vera, and he knew deep down that this was only the beginning of his journey. Word count you 2 to 50 approx. This completes part 5, the final part. In simple, engaging third-person style, fully violated free. Your story is now fully outlined and written across all 5 parts, with each part being around 2,000 words. If you want, I can also compile all 5 parts into one continuous story so it reads seamlessly from start to finish. Do you want me to do that? You said, Part 3. 2,000 words ka lekho aur interesting hona chahiye aur third-person style ma lekhni ha, aur simple basic English ka, aur violated free hona chahiye. ChatGPT said, absolutely. Let's create part 3 of your story. I accidentally spoke my thoughts about her butt. Her reply was beyond belief. This will be around 2,000 words, in third-person style, written in simple basic English, interesting and completely violated free. Part 3. The trial begins. The next morning, Alex woke with a mixture of excitement and dread. The memory of his last conversation with Liara lingered in his mind like a persistent echo. Her calm, measured words, the trust she had placed in him, and the faint smile she had given after the trial weighed heavily on him. He had expected anger, a rebuke, or even punishment after his accidental words. Yet she had chosen curiosity and guidance instead. That alone had changed how he viewed her, and how he viewed himself. The camp was already stirring. The sound of boots on stone, weapons clanging, and warriors calling out drills filled the morning air. Alex followed Liara toward the central arena, a circular space bordered by tall stone walls. The camp's warriors had already gathered, murmuring among themselves. Their eyes shifted toward him with a mix of curiosity, skepticism, and expectation. Alex swallowed hard. He had been thrust into their world quickly, unprepared, and yet he could sense that the next challenge was coming. Liara walked beside him, her posture calm and precise. Today, she said, your words are no longer the measure of your courage. Action will decide your place here. Alex woke the next day with a heavy mind. The camp outside was already alive with noise. He could hear the warriors sharpening their blades, preparing their weapons, and shouting drills in their native tongue. The sound echoed through the valley like thunder. He stayed inside his tent a little longer than usual, staring at the cloth ceiling. His thoughts circled around what had happened the day before. The look on Liara's face, the faint smile, her strange words. You speak boldly, human, it made no sense. He had expected punishment or at least anger, but she hadn't reacted the way the others expected. Now the whole camp looked at him differently, as if he had broken some invisible rule yet gained some invisible recognition at the same time. Finally, he forced himself to get up. Staying hidden would only make things worse. He washed quickly, put on his training clothes, and stepped outside. The stares came immediately. Some warriors smirked, some whispered, and some gave him looks sharp enough to cut. Alex tried to ignore it, though his stomach churned. Liara was already on the training field, her braid glinting under the sun. She was sparring with 3 warriors at once, moving with impossible grace. She dodged, struck, and twisted, her staff spinning like an extension of her arm. The 3 warriors gave their all, but she never lost control. She moved like water flowing around stone. When she finished, the warriors bowed to her. She nodded and turned her gaze toward Alex. Their eyes met. Alex felt his chest tighten. Liara didn't smile this time, but she didn't frown either. She simply lifted her chin, silently ordering him to join. Training began. Alex paired with her once again, just as before. This time, however, there was something different in the way she looked at him. Her eyes seemed curious, testing, searching. Every time he stumbled, she corrected him. Every time he failed to block, she struck just hard enough to sting but not enough to wound. By the end, Alex was drenched in sweat, gasping for air. Liara, as always, looked as calm as if she had only gone for a walk. She dismissed the others and then, to Alex's surprise, motioned for him to follow her. They walked away from the training yard, past the rows of tents into a quieter part of the camp where the sound of practice faded into silence. Liara stopped beneath a tall stone arch carved with ancient symbols. The place felt private, sacred. Alex hesitated. Am I in trouble? He asked, his voice nervous. Liara tilted her head. Do you fear me, human? He blinked. I mean, yes, a little. You could snap me in half with one hand if you wanted to. Her lips twitched, almost a smile. Then it is curious that you dared to speak such words about me yesterday. Alex's face burned hot. He rubbed the back of his neck. That was, not planned. It just slipped out. I didn't mean to say it. But you did mean it, Liara said simply. Alex froze. His mind scrambled for words. Human sometimes. Think out loud. It doesn't always mean, it wasn't an insult. I swear. Liara's sharp eyes studied him. On Vera, to speak of another's form so directly is rare. It is not considered insult. It is considered declaration. Declaration? Alex repeated, confused. Yes, to speak boldly of what others only think in silence. To risk dishonor by honesty. Few dare it. That is why your words spread through the camp so quickly. Some believe you insulted me. Others believe you showed courage. Alex stared at her. His brain felt like it was trying to solve a puzzle with missing pieces. So, you're not mad? Liara shook her head slowly. I'm not mad, I am curious. That single word made Alex's heart jump. She stepped closer, folding her arms. Tell me, human, did you truly mean what you said? Alex felt cornered. His instincts screamed to deny it, but her eyes told him she would see through any lie. He swallowed hard. Yes, I meant it. But I didn't mean it as a challenge or whatever it means here. I just thought it and it came out. Humans are like that sometimes. Liara was silent for a long time. Finally, she gave a small nod. Then I will accept your words as they are. Honest, unintended, yet true. Alex blinked. That was it? He had prepared for anger, humiliation, maybe even exile from the camp. Instead, she just accepted it. But then she leaned closer, lowering her voice. You should know, Alex, honesty is not weakness here. It is strength. Even if you spoke carelessly, you showed what most hide. That is why I did not punish you. Her words struck something inside him. For the first time since arriving on Vera, he didn't feel like just a clumsy outsider. He felt seen. Over the next few days, things changed. Whenever Alex passed through the camp, the whispers grew louder. Warriors eyed him with new curiosity, some with respect, others with suspicion. His accidental words had given him a reputation he hadn't asked for. But what truly surprised him was Liara's behavior. She treated him differently now. During training, she pushed him harder, correcting him more directly. She spent extra time teaching him movements, showing him how to balance his smaller frame against larger opponents. She even sparred with him longer than the others, as though testing how far his endurance could go. At night, when the fires burned and warriors told stories of battles, Alex noticed her watching him from across the flames. Not with scorn, not with anger, but with something else. Interest. He couldn't stop thinking about their conversation. The way she had said honesty was strength. The way her eyes had softened for just a moment when she looked at him. It both terrified him and pulled him closer. One evening, after another brutal day of training, Alex sat near the campfire rubbing his sore muscles. Liara approached, carrying 2 wooden cups of their spiced drink. She handed one to him. He accepted it, surprised. Thanks. She sat beside him, close enough that he felt the warmth of her presence. The other warriors glanced their way, whispering, but no one dared interrupt. You endure, Liara said simply. Alex gave a tired laugh. Barely. My body feels like it's falling apart. Yet you do not stop. That is what matters, she replied. For a moment they sat in silence, watching the flames. Then Liara spoke again, her voice quiet. You are unlike the others. Humans speak openly, even when it may bring shame. I find it refreshing. Alex blinked, unsure how to respond. So you didn't mind what I said that day? Her eyes turned toward him. In the firelight, they glowed with intensity. Mind? No, it made me see you differently. Bravery does not always wear armor, Alex. Sometimes it slips from the tongue. Alex nearly choked on his drink.
He had no idea how to answer. Liara smiled faintly, a rare expression on her face.
Then she stood, leaving him alone by the fire with his racing heart. That night, Alex lay awake in his tent. The sound of the camp had quieted, but his mind refused to rest. Her words echoed again and again. Bravery does not always wear armor. Sometimes it slips from the tongue. He realized something then. What he had thought was a mistake had somehow changed the way Liara saw him. To her people, his slip-up wasn't just an embarrassing comment. It was a bold act, something that set him apart. And though he hadn't meant it, it had given him a place in her eyes that no training or effort could have achieved. Alex didn't know where this path would lead, but one thing was certain. Liara's reply was beyond anything he had expected, and it was only the beginning. The days in the Veyran warrior camp grew longer for Alex. He was beginning to understand more of their culture, but he still felt like an outsider in many ways. The Veyrans admired strength, discipline, and courage above all else. For them, every action carried meaning, every word carried weight. After his slip of the tongue and Liara's unusual response, Alex had unknowingly become the center of attention. Wherever he went, warriors whispered behind his back. He could feel their stares. Some were amused by him, some seemed impressed, and some clearly wanted to see him fail. But the strangest part was Liara herself. She treated him differently now. She didn't scold him like before. Instead, she trained him harder, as if she wanted to push him past his limits. She gave him lessons on endurance, agility, and tactics, things the other warriors didn't need, but Alex did. She seemed to know that he could never match their strength, so she focused on making him use his mind and creativity. At first, Alex thought she was just being kind. But soon he realized there was something more. The other warriors were starting to see his training with Liara as special. They whispered that she favored him, that the human was becoming her project. And in a warrior camp, such rumors carried weight. One evening, after a long day of drills, Alex was sitting by the fire nursing his sore arms. A group of warriors gathered nearby, speaking in low voices. He didn't catch all their words, but he heard enough. The human thinks he is bold. Liara smiles at him. He should prove it in the arena. Alex frowned. He leaned closer, pretending not to listen, but their words grew clearer. One of the larger warriors, a man named Derek, slammed his fist against his chest. If the human is so bold as to speak of Liara, then let him prove his worth. Let him face a warrior in trial. The others murmured in agreement. Alex's heart sank. He had no idea what a trial meant, but it didn't sound like tea and biscuits. The next morning, his fears were confirmed. The camp leader, an older warrior with scars across his face, called everyone to gather in the central square. His voice boomed like thunder. "Word has spread," he declared, "that the human has spoken boldly and acted without fear. Some see this as insult, others see this as courage. The way of our people is clear. If there is doubt, it will be settled in the arena." The crowd erupted in shouts and cheers. Warriors pounded their weapons against their shields. The air vibrated with excitement. Alex felt his stomach drop. He whispered to himself, "Oh no. Oh no, no, no." The leader's eyes swept the crowd until they landed on him. "Alex, human of Earth, you will face trial. You will prove whether your courage is real or empty words." That night, Alex paced inside his tent. His heart raced, his hands shook. "This is insane," he thought. "I can't fight one of them. They're faster, stronger, and trained since birth. I'll be crushed in seconds." A soft knock came at the tent flap. Before he could answer, Liara stepped inside. She looked calm as always, but there was something sharper in her eyes. "You are troubled," she said. "Troubled?" Alex laughed nervously. "I'm about to be thrown into an arena with someone who can break me in half." "Troubled is an understatement." Liara studied him quietly, then folded her arms. "Do you wish to run?" The thought flashed in Alex's mind. Yes, absolutely, run back to Earth and never look back. But then he shook his head. "No, if I run, I'll just prove them right. They'll say humans are cowards." Her eyes softened just slightly. "Good. Then you have already taken the first step." Alex groaned. "Easy for you to say. You could win against any of them with your eyes closed." Liara's lips curved into the faintest smile. "Perhaps. But you are not meant to fight like us. You are meant to fight like yourself." Alex frowned. "What does that even mean?" She stepped closer. "You cannot win with strength. You must use what they do not expect. Humans are small but quick. Humans are weaker but clever. Use that. Use their pride against them." Alex blinked. "So you're saying I should cheat?" Liara shook her head. "Not cheat. Outsmart. That is your weapon." For the next few hours, she trained him differently than before. She showed him how to dodge, how to move lightly on his feet, how to use an opponent's momentum against them. She drilled him on awareness, teaching him to read the smallest shifts in body movement. Alex was clumsy at first, but with every correction he improved a little. Sweat poured down his face, his body screamed in pain, but he didn't stop. Liara's voice pushed him on. "Faster, Alex, watch their eyes, not their weapon. Move where they least expect." When they finally stopped, Alex collapsed onto the ground, exhausted. Liara crouched beside him. "You will not win by being stronger," she said softly. "But if you fight with courage and wit, you may survive. And survival, in the eyes of my people, can be victory." Alex looked up at her, panting. "Why are you helping me?" "Shouldn't you be hoping I fail?" For a moment, Liara was silent. Then she answered, "Because you are different. You spoke without fear when others would not. You showed honesty when others hide behind silence. That is worth protecting." Her words lit a spark inside him. Maybe, just maybe, he had a chance. The day of the trial arrived. The entire camp gathered in the arena, a wide circle of stone with high walls. Warriors crowded the edges, cheering and stomping their feet. The air buzzed with excitement. Alex stood in the center, gripping a wooden training staff. His palms were sweaty, his knees weak. Across from him stood Darek, the massive warrior who had demanded the trial. His muscles bulged, his eyes burned with determination. He twirled his heavy spear like it weighed nothing. The camp leader raised his hand. "This is trial by challenge." The human will face Darek. Strength against wit, courage against fear. Let the arena decide. The crowd roared. The signal came. Darek charged. Alex's instincts screamed at him to run, but Liara's voice echoed in his mind. Use what they do not expect. He sidestepped at the last second, barely avoiding the spear's swing. The crowd gasped. Darek spun, attacking again. Alex ducked under the blow, rolling to the side. His heart pounded. He couldn't fight head-on. He had to survive. The battle turned into a desperate dance. Darek struck with power, but Alex dodged, ducked, and weaved. Every time the warrior thought he had him cornered, Alex slipped away. The crowd shouted louder with every move. Some jeered, calling him a coward, but others began to cheer. Minutes passed, and Alex felt his body weakening. He couldn't dodge forever. Then he remembered Liara's other lesson. Use their pride. As Darek lunged again, Alex faked a stumble. The warrior smirked, certain of victory. He charged recklessly. At the last moment, Alex twisted aside, using Darek's momentum to trip him. The big warrior crashed to the ground, his spear clattering away. The crowd erupted in shock. Darek scrambled to his feet, furious, but Alex stood tall, raising his staff. His chest heaved, his arms shook, but he didn't back down. For a moment, silence filled the arena. Then the camp leader lifted his hand. Enough. The human has proven himself. He does not fight with strength, but with courage and wit. That is victory. The crowd cheered. Some warriors pounded their fists against their chests in respect. Alex stood frozen, stunned. He had survived. He had actually done it. His eyes found Liara in the crowd. She was watching him closely, her expression unreadable. But when their eyes met, she gave the smallest of nods. Alex's chest swelled with pride. For the first time, he felt like he wasn't just a guest in the camp. He was something more. And though he didn't know it yet, this was only the beginning of an even greater challenge. The morning sun rose over the Veyron warrior camp, casting long shadows across the training grounds. Birds called in the distance, but Alex barely noticed them. His mind was consumed by thoughts of what had happened the previous day. Surviving the trial against Darek had changed him. The whispers in the camp had shifted from doubt to a mixture of awe and curiosity. Some warriors now regarded him as unpredictable, perhaps even clever enough to survive in ways they could not foresee. Others still doubted him, waiting for the human to make a mistake. Alex's body was sore, every muscle aching. Even so, he had to train. Liara had instructed him that survival was not enough. He needed to be prepared for the unexpected. Liara appeared as the first light touched the training ground. She moved with her usual grace, but there was a new intensity in her steps. When she saw Alex, she nodded. "Today," she said, "we focus on control. They will test your mind as much as your body." Alex followed her, gripping his staff tightly. He had learned that brute strength would not win here. He needed speed, cleverness, and awareness. Liara's eyes were sharp, watching every movement he made. As training progressed, a new challenge arose. A group of senior warriors had requested a demonstration of Alex's abilities. They wanted to see if his victory over Darek was luck or genuine skill. The arena was prepared once again. This time, it wasn't just a single opponent. 10 warriors would challenge him in sequence, each one stronger and faster than the last. Alex's stomach tightened. He glanced at Liara. She gave him a calm nod, her gaze steady. "Remember," she whispered. "Use your mind. Observe. Adapt. Survive." He swallowed hard. "Adapt and survive," he repeated silently. "I can do this. I must." The first warrior stepped forward, a young Veyron with a long spear. Alex dodged, ducked, and used the momentum of his opponent's strike to roll him off balance. The crowd gasped. Next came a larger warrior wielding twin blades. Alex stayed light on his feet, sidestepping every strike, using the arena's terrain to his advantage. He ducked behind a pillar, forcing the warrior to overextend and stumble. With each passing opponent, Alex grew more confident. His human body might not have been the strongest, but he had learned to move unpredictably, to think ahead, to turn weakness into opportunity. By the 5th opponent, the crowd began to murmur. They were witnessing something extraordinary. A human, small and fragile compared to Veyron's, holding his ground with wit and courage. Liara watched from the sidelines. Her expression was difficult to read, but Alex noticed a flicker of pride in her eyes. She had trained him, yes, but she hadn't expected him to adapt so quickly. His courage had proven itself not just in strength, but in character. The 6th warrior approached, a veteran with a long scar across his face. He was fast, powerful, and precise. Most would have considered Alex doomed. But he remembered Liara's words, "Use their pride." As the warrior attacked aggressively, Alex feigned weakness, stumbling slightly. The veteran lunged, confident of victory. At the last second, Alex sidestepped, using the momentum of the attack to send the warrior tumbling to the ground. The crowd erupted. Some shouted in disbelief, others in admiration. Alex's pulse raced, but he stayed focused. Only 4 opponents remained. By the 9th warrior, Alex was exhausted. His arms trembled. Sweat poured down his face, and every movement felt heavier than the last. The warrior he faced was the largest yet, a seasoned fighter with a reputation for crushing his opponents in seconds. Alex's mind raced. He couldn't rely on dodging alone. He needed to predict, to anticipate, to force the warrior to make a mistake. He studied every flick of his wrist, every shift of weight. He waited. The warrior lunged with a mighty swing. Alex ducked, rolled, and sprang to the side. Using his smaller size, he slipped under the attack, tripping the warrior with a quick move he had practiced with Liara. The crowd's roar was deafening. Alex's legs were burning, his arms shaking, but he pressed on. Only one opponent remained. The final warrior was tall, muscular, and swift. He circled Alex, eyes locked on him with intensity. Every move was deliberate, every attack calculated. Alex felt a moment of panic. This might be the end. Then he remembered Liara's smile from days ago. The way she had seen courage where others saw folly. Her words echoed in his mind. Honesty is strength. Adapt and survive. Alex took a deep breath. He wasn't the strongest. He wasn't the fastest. But he could think. He could see the opening. The warrior attacked, fast and furious. Alex dodged, rolled, and at the perfect moment, twisted to use the warrior's momentum against him. With a skillful move, he caused the opponent to stumble and fall. The arena erupted into cheers. Some warriors clapped, others shouted in amazement. Alex stood, chest heaving, arms shaking, but alive. He had done it. He had faced 10 opponents and survived. Liara stepped into the arena. Her eyes met his, and for the first time, Alex saw her smile fully. Not a small twitch, but a genuine smile. "You did well," she said simply. Alex felt his face flush. I just survived, barely," she shook her head. "You did more than survive. You showed courage, intelligence, and determination. You turned what could have been weakness into strength. That is true victory." The crowd hushed as she turned to address them. "Let it be known," she said, "that this human has proven himself. Not with brute strength, but with courage and wit. That is worthy of respect." Whispers ran through the camp. Warriors exchanged glances, some stunned, others nodding in agreement. Alex had done something no human had done before. He had earned the respect of Veyran warriors. Liara came closer. "Your actions today, they are not typical of humans. You have honor, bravery, and honesty. That is why I accept you." Alex's heart raced. "Accept me?"
What do you mean?
Her gaze softened. "You are different. You are not like the others who hide behind words or fear. You speak boldly, you act honestly, and you do not falter in the face of danger. That is why I chose to trust you." Alex blinked, stunned. The weight of her words sank in. He had been afraid, clumsy, and unsure, yet in her eyes he had proven himself. That night, as the camp settled and fires burned low, Alex sat alone, reflecting on the day's events. His body ached, but his mind was alive with thought. He realized that his accident, the words he had spoken about Liara, had set all of this in motion. It had started with an embarrassing slip of the tongue, yet it had led to respect, understanding, and connection. He had faced 10 warriors, survived, and emerged not just alive but recognized. And more than anything, he had earned Liara's trust, a rare gift in a culture that valued discipline and honor above all. As he looked up at the stars through the tent flap, Alex felt a mixture of exhaustion and exhilaration. He had come to Vera expecting a simple cultural exchange. Instead, he had found a challenge, a test, and a connection that went beyond words. The journey was far from over. Trials awaited, challenges would come, and the whispers in the camp would continue. But for the first time, Alex believed in himself. He could survive. He could adapt. And perhaps in time, he could even thrive. Liara's reply had been beyond belief, but it had also opened a path Alex had never imagined. And he was ready to follow it, step by step, trial by trial, until he discovered where it would lead. Alex had been on the alien world of Vera for only a few weeks, but every single day felt like a strange mix of wonder and pressure. He had volunteered for the Human-Alien Cultural Exchange Program, imagining it would be about trade, language, maybe even a little adventure. Instead, he found himself thrown into the heart of an alien warrior camp, surrounded by beings taller, stronger, and far more disciplined than him. The Veyrans were proud of their traditions. They trained from childhood in the arts of combat, strategy, and loyalty. They moved like a single machine, their bodies lean and strong, their spirits bound by codes Alex barely understood. And in the middle of all this, he felt like a fish dropped into the desert. Every morning began with drills. The warriors marched, sparred, and tested each other. Alex tried to keep up, but his human body was not built like theirs. He was stronger than the average person back home on Earth, But compared to the Varens, he felt slow and clumsy. His only saving grace was his stubbornness. He never gave up even when exhausted. One warrior stood out more than the rest. Her name was Liara. She was young by Varen standards, yet already held in high regard among her people. She had long dark hair braided behind her head, sharp eyes that seemed to see through lies, and a posture that radiated discipline. Liara was not just respected, she was admired. Alex noticed that whenever Liara entered the training field, the other warriors straightened up. They listened when she spoke, even though she wasn't their commander. Her presence had weight, and Alex felt both intimidated and strangely fascinated by her. During sparring, Liara often ended up across from Alex. At first, he thought it was coincidence, but after the third time he realized she might be testing him. She moved gracefully, her strikes fast but controlled. When Alex tried to block, she corrected his stance with a sharp tap of her wooden staff. When he stumbled, she told him to plant his feet like roots. Her words were stern yet not unkind. It was exhausting. By the end of each session, Alex felt like collapsing. His muscles burned, his lungs fought for air, and sweat covered him from head to toe. Yet he couldn't help sneaking glances at Liara. She never seemed tired. She moved as though training was as natural as breathing. One afternoon, after hours of drills under the blazing twin suns of Vera, Alex found himself trailing behind the group. His body screamed for rest. He bent over, hands on his knees, trying to catch his breath. Liara was walking ahead of him, her long braid swinging behind her back. Alex stared without meaning to. The thought hit him before he could stop it. She has a really nice butt. It wasn't something he planned to say out loud. In fact, he didn't even realize he had spoken until his own voice reached his ears. Quiet but clear in the silent training yard. Liara stopped walking. The other warriors froze. Alex's blood turned cold. He straightened quickly, eyes wide, heart hammering in his chest. No. Please tell me I didn't just say that. But the look on the faces of the warriors told him everything. They stared at him as though he had just challenged their entire culture. Some looked shocked. Others looked amused, though they quickly tried to hide it. Liara slowly turned her head. Her sharp eyes locked onto Alex. She didn't say anything right away. She simply studied him, her expression unreadable. Alex wanted to vanish. I'm dead. I'm actually dead. These people take honor seriously. I just insulted their most respected warrior. Great job, Alex. Brilliant. For a moment, no one spoke. The silence stretched so long that Alex considered running back to the human camp and hiding under his bed, until Earth recalled him. Then, Liara's lips curved, not into a scowl, but into the faintest of smiles. You speak boldly. Human, she said softly. Her tone was not angry, not mocking, just curious. Alex blinked, stunned. He opened his mouth, then closed it. He had no idea what to say. His thoughts raced. Should he apologize? Should he explain? Should he pretend he had said something else? Before he could answer, one of the older warriors barked a laugh. The human has no fear of death, it seems. To speak such words before Liara. Madness, another muttered. Or courage. Liara raised a hand, silencing them. She kept her eyes on Alex, and for the first time since he had met her, her gaze was not sharp or commanding. It was amused. Alex swallowed hard. I didn't mean... He began, his words stumbling over each other, but Liara interrupted. Enough. We will speak later. And just like that, she turned and continued walking, leaving Alex behind with 100 confused thoughts swirling in his head. That evening, Alex sat alone in his tent. He replayed the moment again and again. His slip-up could have destroyed everything. On Earth, it might have just been embarrassing. But here, among warriors who valued honor above all, words carried heavy weight. Yet Liara hadn't punished him. She hadn't mocked him. She had smiled. And that smile worried him even more than anger would have. Outside, the alien camp buzzed with quiet conversation. Alex could hear whispers when he passed groups of warriors. They spoke in their native tongue, but every now and then he caught words he understood. Human, bold, Liara. He groaned and rubbed his face. Great, I've become camp gossip. But beneath the embarrassment, another feeling stirred, curiosity. Why had Liara smiled? Why had she said nothing else? Alex didn't know it yet, but that single slip of the tongue had already set events into motion that would change everything. By the next morning, things felt different. The warriors eyed him strangely. Some smirked, some frowned, and some avoided looking at him altogether. Alex did his best to focus on training, but the weight of their stares followed him. During sparring drills, Liara paired with him again. She fought as usual, precise and controlled. But every so often, Alex noticed her lips twitch as though she were holding back laughter. Finally, when the session ended, she leaned close and whispered, "You should learn to guard not only your body, human, but also your tongue." Her words made Alex's face burn red. The other warriors looked on, waiting for her to scold him. But she didn't. She simply walked away, leaving Alex even more confused than before. He didn't know it yet, but this was only the beginning.